it's Melanie. Welcome to my channel. Today I have the birthday book tag for you, so stay tuned. It's my birthday! Yay! Well, when this video posts, it'll be my birthday. And I thought I would do the birthday book tag. So the original creator of this tag is Antonia Always Books. It's a blog. And the original, I guess, video, the first video I could find anyway, was done by Coffee, Cocktails, and Books, and I will link both of these down in the description. But the first question is birthday cake. A book with a plot that seems cliche, but you adore it anyway. And for that, I decided to go with Lola and the Boy Next Door by Stephanie Perkins because, well, I love that whole boy next door or girl next door or been friends forever and they finally realize that that's the one for them. And I love them. They're sweet, they're mushy, they're lots of fun, and yeah. If you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at the questions here on my phone. Question number 2 is party guests. Your most anticipated book release for this year. And this book's actually already been released. And I've already received it. I just haven't read it. I'm reading it this month and I am so excited. That is The Red Scrolls of Magic by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu. I'm so excited for this book. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is Alec and Magnus's story of when they do their whole world tour thing, and it's their romance, and oh, I love Alex and Magnus, and their story is so sweet, and I just, oh, they're my heart. I love them. And I mean, yes, I am super excited and anticipating other books coming out, including other Cassandra Clare books. Like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait. But this is probably my most anticipated book this year. I'm just so excited for this. Number 3 is Birthday Presents, a book that surprised you with how much you loved it. And for that, I chose The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This book sat on my shelf for what seemed like forever. I got it before everybody started talking about it like crazy, and it didn't sound like something that I would be all that interested in, and I was just kind of like, whatever. It just sat on my shelf because it came in a pop sugar box. And then everybody was raving about it, and every single person I heard talk about this book, they gave it 5 stars and they loved it. And I mean, it really just didn't sound like something that was for me. And so I just kept putting it off and kept putting it off. And then I ended up reading this for a challenge for a readathon that I was hosting, where it was read a book that's been collecting dust on your shelf. And I was like, you know what? I've had this for what seems like forever. I need to just go ahead and read it. And oh my gosh, I loved it. It was very, very much not my kind of book, but I loved it so much. I cried like crazy while reading this book. Oh my goodness. There's just, oh, it was so good. And you know, I'm not even one to really get into memoirs, and this has a very much like a memoir kind of feel to it. There's absolutely nothing that I should have liked going into this book, and this is why it sat on my shelf forever. But then I read it and it blew me away. It was so good, and I felt like this was real, like this person was a real person. And oh, my heart, I love this book. Definitely a 5-star book. And this book really, I mean, it really surprised me with how much I loved it. And if you haven't read it, Even if you don't think it's a book for you, read it because you're probably gonna love it. Number 4 is Happy Birthday Song, a book that certainly deserved all the hype it got. And for that, I decided to go with Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, or Sorcerer's Stone, depending on which book you want to read. This series was my biggest booktube secret that I hadn't read any of the books or even watched any of the movies. And I teamed up with Zoe over at You're a Book Nerd, Zoe, and we hosted Potter Watch, which was a read and watch along-a-thon, whatever. And we started it September 1st, and it just ended at the end of April. And each month we read one of the books and we watched one of the movies, and then we had a live show discussion about it. And I was really like nervous going into this because, for one, I was like, okay, it's a middle grade, which I've been reading a lot of middle grade with Xander, but there's this huge following, and I was afraid that I wasn't gonna get into it like everybody else. And yeah, going into something that's so beloved by so many people, it's scary, like, if you might not like it. And luckily for me, it lived up to all of its hype. It is such a fun story. The first book is actually, I think, one of my favorites in the entire series because it's just so pure and sweet and innocent, and I loved the whole world. And it really is a truly magical experience getting to read them. Number 5 is Happy Music, a book with some very beautiful and truly memorable quotes. I have a kitty climbing all over me right now. For that, I decided to go with Clockwork Prince, which is the second book in the Infernal Devices series by Cassandra Clare. I love all of the Cassandra Clare books, and there are so many great quotes throughout all of the books, but Clockwork Prince had some of my favorite quotes, one in particular. So I'll read you some of the quotes that I really like from Clockwork Prince, and then I'll end with my favorite quote. So we have, "He touched her as he usually touched his beloved violin, with soft and urgent grace that left her breathless. The light that burned twice as bright burned half as long. For love is as strong as death. I can offer you my life, but it is a short life. I can offer you my heart, though I have no idea how many more beats it shall sustain." Oh, I love that. And then my favorite, and you can even reduce this down to an even smaller part, but I want to read the bigger quote because the whole thing is beautiful. "We live and breathe words. It was books that made me feel that perhaps I was not completely alone. They could be honest with me and I with them. Reading your words, what you wrote, how you were lonely sometimes and afraid, but always brave. The way you saw the world, its colors and textures and sounds. I felt the way you thought, hoped, felt, dreamt. I felt I was dreaming and thinking and feeling with you. I dreamed what you dreamed, wanted what you wanted, and then I realized that I truly just wanted you." I love that quote, but my favorite, if you reduce it down to my absolute favorite line, was, "It was books that made me feel that perhaps I was not completely alone," because books are always there for you, and I love them. Number 6 is Getting Older, a book that you read a long time ago, but you think you would appreciate more if you read it as a more mature reader. I think I would say The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, because initially I read that back when I was like in middle school, and I read it multiple times then because I loved it. And then I read it again when Becca was like 4 or something like that, so it was like 14 years ago. And I was just reading it out loud with her before we went and saw the movie, the first one. And I think now I would see even more than I did then, because I've grown so much more as a reader, even just since 14 years ago. And I think I would really enjoy more, and I probably would pick up more things than I did back then. And I actually have like the complete collection in like one book, because it's funny, I bought that back many years ago, and I don't think she ever read the whole thing. But I have the book, and I actually intend on reading that entire series with Xander, because I think he will really love it, and then we can watch the movies together. Yay! And then last but not least is number 7 for May 7th. Sweet Birthday Memories, a book that kept you incredibly happy during a sad or demanding period of your life. Well, I don't want to get too much into the sad or demanding part, but in December last year, I was going through a really hard time, and there was a lot of stress and a lot of heartbreak, and it was a bad month. And as I said before, back in September, Xander and I, with your book nerd Zoe, were doing Potter Watch. And in December, the book we were reading was Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. And having that moment each day to escape reality and go into this magical world, and to get to spend this time with Xander and experience this series for the first time with him was such a joy, and it was such a good thing for me to have each day, to be able to just step away from the real world and put myself into the wizarding world, and for a little moment in time forget all of the bad stuff that was going on and just enjoying this story. And yeah, so I would say Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, but really the entire Harry Potter series, because it's an amazing series, and it was amazing to get to experience it for the first time with Xander, experiencing it for the first time as well, and it was a great escape from reality. So have you guys read any of these books? What would you say for some of the prompts? Comment down below and let me know. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be completely you.